When you're just starting out in drawing, my suggestion would be just to keep the shading simple. Some like to go for a super realistic shading on their first try but end up overshading the face, thus make it look older unintentionally. That happened to me before. Instead, we're going to focus on areas where shadows usually fall when you cast a light up front and slightly above the character. These areas are in the corner of the eye right here. When we look at the skull and add an eyeball on the sockets, it's this part here. Next is at the bottom of the nose. When we draw the nose, we usually draw a corner like this, so this part usually gets shaded. Some like to shade the sides of the nose as well, but if you're doing cell shading, this actually looks a bit overbearing. It might work if you're working with a more painterly style, but for this, just a shading at the bottom of the nose will do just fine. Depending on your style, you can also add a shading at the top part of the lip. When we look at the lips on the side, you can see this bit is facing downwards, so the light doesn't shine on it that much. Then we're going to add a shading underneath the lower lip. If you feel your face, there's a bit of a sunken part underneath the lip just before the chin. Now, if your character has prominent cheekbones like this sample here, we can add a bit of a shading just at the bottom of the cheekbones. Be careful not to put too much shading on this part because it might make your character look sickly. For the elderly, we can add a bit more shading to depict the wrinkles and such. If I don't have any lighting in mind for the illustration, this is what I'll go for. It's simple and it doesn't look overbearing.